Hey everyone, welcome to the best U.S. Mint News channel on YouTube. I'm Sonofasilverstacker. Today's date is the 20th of October, 2025, and in this video we're talking about the American Women's Quarter final issuance, Althea Gibson. Now, before any of that though, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to a bazillion subs. It's actually a really big number. You can look it up on the Google machine. It is ginormous. Now, we're always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm not going to say. Now, let's bounce over to moneymetals.com. I can show you those live spot prices. Looks like a mixed bag this morning. Looks like gold is up 10.40 to 42.75.50. Silver down a penny to 52.13. Really just flat, basically. Platinum down 6.05 to 16.23.70. And palladium down 10.80 to 14.77.60. Dr. Copper is up a nickel to 4.98 per pound. Down here, you're looking at an in-stock American Silver Eagle, whose premium is now $10.99. For a quantity of 1 through 39, they ask that you pay $63.12. Now, the buyback, that's the sell to them price, is $53.01, and that is not the $1.20 that we typically see, although it is above the silver spot price at $52.13. Now, over here to JM Bullion, remember this price, $63.12. At JM Bullion, they've got them priced here for a quantity of 1 through 19, my bad, $63.09, $63.75, and $65.72. That's $130 and change for two American Silver Eagles, folks. That is quite something. You know, the year started out, you could actually almost buy 3 American Silver Eagles for what the United States Mint sells their proof American Silver Eagles at $105. Not anymore. Nope, no siree. Yeah, you can't even buy 2 American Silver Eagles now when it used to be 3. That is remarkable. Now let's keep on keeping on. This is a news press release from the United States Mint that came out October 13, 2025. Title of this article is, news press release is, the United States Mint begins shipping American Women Quarters honoring Althea Gibson on October 20. They're talking about to your banks, the Philadelphia and Denver circulation strikes, not necessarily the ones that we're going to see here for tomorrow's drop that have the San Francisco Mint in there as well. So that's interesting because I've already been charged for my American Women Quarters 3-roll set at $63. Now let's keep on. Let's go back to this article. It says the United States Mint will begin shipping the 2025 American Women Quarters program coins honoring Althea Gibson, the 5th quarter released in 2025, and the final coin for the entire program on October 20. Can you believe it's already over? I mean, I'm shook almost. I can't believe how quickly this went. And I'm really excited for next year. I think next year's quarters are going to be quite something special. Very excited for their release soon. All right. And that's what we're looking at, less than 3 months away now, right? It's going to be January 2026. It's already more than halfway through October. Time is flying when you're having fun. The Mint facilities at Philadelphia and Denver manufacture these circulating quarters. Now, it says here, it is fitting that someone so talented in so many areas closes out our program, said United States Mint Acting Director Christy McNally. Althea Gibson's accomplishments reflect her tenacity, no doubt about that, and you'll see that at the Wikipedia article that I'm going to read to you, and dedication to the pursuit of her dreams. Althea Gibson was a trailblazing multi-sport athlete who accomplished an impressive list of firsts throughout her career. She also played tennis, not only tennis rather, but golf. The LPGA. Gibson was the first black athlete to break the color barrier at the highest levels in tennis, winning 11 Grand Slam titles by the end of the 1950s. She paved the way for future black athletes and became the face of American achievement in international sports. Designed by artistic infusion program designer Don Everhart and sculpted by medallic artist Renata Gordon, the reverse tails displays design portrays Althea Gibson with a racket in one hand and a ball in the other while standing confidently by a net on a tennis court as if in preparation before playing a match. And they also, at the end of the match, come up to the net and shake hands. Inscriptions include United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Althea Gibson, $quarter, and Trailblazing Champion. Each coin in this series features a common obverse, that's heads to you and me, design depicting a portrait of George Washington. All right, so I don't know if we're going to get the Laura Garden Fraser American Women Quarter design for next year. For Washington, we could, but I've read that for 2027, when we revert back to a new program or when we head over to a new program, the United States Mint needs a distinguishable alternative to the quarter that you see here for 2022 through 2025 for the American Women Quarter program. So we're definitely going to get a new design for Washington. Lord Garden Fraser originally composed and sculpted this design as a candidate entry for the 1932 quarter, which was just a commemorative at that point. They didn't expect to make them, this far into the future. In fact, they didn't even strike quarters in 1933, and it was in 1934 they're like, that was a pretty cool quarter. Let's make more of those. All right, let's see here, which honored the bicentennial of, which was a commemorative coin, the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. The inscriptions are "Liberty and God We Trust" and 2025. Had to get a little sippy sip of water there. View an image of Althea quarter reverse here, and I've got those right over here as well, and I'll leave a link in the description. You can check out all of the American Women Quarter designs from this page, and it's kind of hard to navigate, but there they are. All American Women Quarter designs. You can check those out at your leisure. So let's go back to this page. All right, it says here, there were two features of the Althea Gibson quarter reverse that made it pleasantly challenging, said Renata Gordon. The first was getting the net and the racket detail visually accurate and legible at the tiny size of a quarter. Imagine trying to do that on a little tiny canvas like a quarter. That's almost impossible. It's just incredible how the United States Mint and the detail on these coins is just fabricated. It's remarkable. All right, let's see. Well, let's keep on keeping on. The second, which was the greater of the two, was capturing the facial expression of Gibson, one that showed a joy and love of life through the structure of her face and the musculature around her eyes and smile. That is cool. Let's keep on keeping on. Here's the $quarter here, and I'm going to go ahead and open that up and let you know what's going on with this. Hi, what is going on? Didn't expect that this morning. It's a good thing I had opened up another page. I guess there's something selling. It's probably the American Liberty gold coin is up for sale again this morning, I would imagine. Oh, I'm in the waiting room. Good. Can't wait to buy that one. So here we are. We can select the product between the 100-coin bag from Denver or Philadelphia, the 2-roll set from Philadelphia and Denver, and then the 3-roll set right there. I hope it doesn't go to the waiting room. Please don't go to the waiting room. Please don't go to the waiting room now. It's thinking. Should I make him go to the waiting room while he's doing his video? Or should I let him? Well, anyway, the product limit for the 2-roll set is 7,000, 18,625 for the 3-roll set, and then 8,250 for the bags. And there's a household order limit of 3 rolls and 10 bags. That is quite something. Now let's go ahead and leave this page as they're thinking about whether they're not going to let me in or not. This is Althea Gibson on the Wikipedia page, and I will leave a link in the description for this particular article, and you got to read it through and through. It is fantastical. You really get educated on what's going on here with this young lady here. And wow, let me just start by saying kudos to her. I mean, she was just, well, let me just read it to you. I'm going to go to early life and education here, right? This is where it's at right here. Gibson was born on August 25, 1927, in the town of Silver, right, in Clarendon County, South Carolina, to Daniel and Annie Bell Gibson, who worked as sharecroppers on a cotton farm. The Great Depression hit rural southern farmers sooner than much of the rest of the country. So in 1930, the family moved to Harlem, the Upper West Side, as part of the Great Migration, where Althea's 3 sisters and brothers were born. Their apartment was located on a stretch of 43rd Street between Lenox Avenue and 7th Avenue, that had been designated a police athletic league play area. Okay, what's that mean? That means it's an organization of many American police departments in which members of the police force coach young people, both boys and girls, in sports and help the homework and other school-related activities. The purpose is to build character, help strengthen, there you go, police relationships. All right, during daylight hours, it was barricaded so that neighborhood children could play organized sports. Gibson quickly became a proficient in paddle tennis, and by 1939, at the age of 12, she was New York City women's paddle tennis champion. Could you, 12 years old? You don't got chicken skin thinking about that. I don't know what you're doing over here. That's remarkable. Gibson quit school at the age of 13. I think they did that back in the day. I think my grandpa, who was like an engineer, quit school at like 13 or 14 also. I mean, that's what they did back then. So she quit school at the age of 13, and this is where it gets gnarly. Using the boxing skills taught to her by her father, engaged in a life of what she would later refer to as street fighting. What? Girls basketball and watching movies. Now, this is a total non sequitur segue Fearful of her father's violent behavior, after dropping out of school, she spent some time living in a Catholic protective shelter for abused children. What? Man, talk about overcoming challenges. That is remarkable. In 1940, a group of Gibson's neighbors took up a collection to finance a junior membership and lessons at the Cosmopolitan Tennis Club in the Sugar Hill section of Harlem. At first, Gibson didn't like tennis, a sport she thought was for weak people. She might have had a chip on her shoulder there a little bit. As she explained, I kept wanting to fight the other player every time I started to lose a match. Oh, yeah? You've beaten me here, but I can beat you there, right? In 1941, she entered and won her first tournament, the American Tennis Association, that's the ATA New York State Championship. She won the ATA National Championship in the girls division in 1944 and 45, and after losing in the women's final in 1946, won her first of 10 straight national ATA women's titles in 1947. That's remarkable. Or incredible, whatever you like to hear there. I knew that I was an unusual, talented girl through the grace of God, she wrote. I didn't need to prove that to myself. I only wanted to prove it to my opponents. That's awesome. Gibson ATA success drew the attention of Walter Johnson, a Lynchburg, Virginia physician who was active in the African-American tennis community. Under Johnson's patronage, he would later mentor Arthur Ashe, famous tennis player there. Gibson gained access to more advanced instruction and, more important, competitions, and later to the United States Lawn Tennis Association, USLTA, later known as USTA. In 1946, she moved to Wilmington, North Carolina under the sponsorship of another physician and tennis activist, Hubert A. Eaton, and enrolled at the racially segregated Williston Industrial High School. And it says here, it's a school in Wilmington, North Carolina. It was first founded in 1866, pick up sticks, by the Abolitionist American Missionary Association after the Union Army occupied the city during the Civil War. It was intended for freed slaves and initially had 450 pupils divided into 5 departments. In 1949, she became the first black woman and the second black athlete after Reginald Weir to play in the USTA's National Indoor Championships, where she reached the quarterfinals. Later that year, she entered Florida A&M University as a public historically black land-grant university in Tallahassee, Florida, United States. All right, founded in 1887, it is the third largest historically black university in the United States by enrollment and the only public historically black university in the state of Florida. All right, FAMU, on a full athletic scholarship, and was a member of the Beta Alpha chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, aka, there you are. And you still see that to this day. All right, despite her growing reputation as an elite player, Gibson was effectively barred from entering the premier American tournament, the United States National Championships, now the U.S. Open at Forest Hills. That's in New York right there, in Queens, I believe. While USTA rules officially prohibited racial or ethnic discrimination, players qualified for the Nationals by accumulating points at sanctioned tournaments, most of which were held at white-only clubs. So how could she even get points if she can't even get to those clubs, right? That's going to be they're shutting the door on her, clearly. In 1950, in response to intense lobbying by ATA officials and retired champion Alice Marble, who published a scathing open letter in the magazine American Lawn Tennis, Gibson became the first black player to receive an invitation to the Nationals, where she made her Forest Hills debut a few days after her 23rd birthday. All this was before her 23rd birthday. What were you doing at 23? Don't answer that. Although she lost narrowly in the second round in a rain-delayed 3-set match to Louise Bro, the reigning Wimbledon champion. That's what they do in England right there. That's the championship in United Kingdom. All right. And champion and former U.S. national winner, easy for me to say, I'm excited to share this with you. Her participation received extensive national and international coverage. No Negro player, man or woman, has ever set foot on one of these courts, wrote journalist Lester Rodney. At the time, in many ways, it is even a tougher personal Jim Crow busting assignment than was Jackie Robinson when he first stepped out of the Brooklyn Dodgers dugout. Go Dodgers, baby. All right, in 1951, I just got chicken skin. In 1951, Gibson won her first international title, the Caribbean Championships in Jamaica, and later that year became one of the first black competitors at Wimbledon, where she was defeated in the third round by Beverly Baker. In 1952, she was ranked 7th nationally by the USTA. In the spring of 1953, she graduated from Florida A&M, all while still in college, folks, and took a job teaching physical education at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. During her 2 years at Lincoln, she became romantically involved with an Army officer whom she never named publicly. and considered enlisting in the Women's Army Corps, a WAC, right? That's right. She decided against it when the State Department sent her on a goodwill tour of Asia in 1955 to play exhibition matches with Ham Richardson, Bob Perry, and Carol Fergaros. Many Asians in the countries they visited, Burma, Ceylon, India, Pakistan, and Thailand, felt an affinity to Althea as a woman of color and were delighted to see her as part of the U.S., the official U.S. delegation. With the United States grappling over the question of race, they turned to Althea for answers, or at least to get firsthand perspective. Gibson, for her part, strengthened her confidence immeasurably during the 6-week tour. When it was over, she remained abroad, winning 16 of 18 tournaments in Europe and Asia against many of the world's best players. Now, here we go. This is where it gets really intense. All right, on May 27, 1956, she became the first African-American athlete to win a Grand Slam tournament. That's a big deal, folks. That's everything right there. She won the French Championship singles event, defeating Briton Angela Mortimer in the final. She also won the doubles title, partnered with Briton Angela Buxton. Later in the season, she won the Wimbledon doubles championship, again with Buxton, 5 tournaments in Italy, including the Italian championships in Rome, the Indian championships in New Delhi, and the Asian championships in Ceylon. She also reached the quarterfinals in singles at Wimbledon and the finals in the U.S. Nationals, losing to both of them to Shirley Fry. 1957 season was, in her own words, Althea Gibson's year. In July, Gibson was seeded first at Wimbledon, considered at the time world's championship of tennis. It still is, and defeated Darlene Hard in the finals for the singles title. She was the first black champion in the tournament's 80-year history and the first champion to receive the trophy personally from Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, that's awesome. Shaking hands with the Queen of England, she said, was a long way from being forced to sit in the colored section of the bus. She won the doubles championship as well for the second year running. That is awesome. I'm shook. That's fantastic. All right, let's keep on keeping on. I'm excited to get this quarter. And look, it's still thinking whether it wants to let me in the waiting room or not. Let's go ahead and hit refresh. And hi, welcome back. Oh man, I guess I'm out of the waiting room now. Thank goodness. Didn't expect that to happen. So here we are. I just have to roll with the punches, right? Here we are with this quarter, and I already talked about the Wimbledon. Let's talk about the coin production. All right, here we go with the 2025 American Women quarters. And out of all the quarters for the whole program, for this 4-year program, Althea Gibson has the lowest mintages. And I got to say this, so far, we might get up to 100 million for each Denver and Philadelphia mints, but maybe not. Maybe this is it. Maybe that's all there's going to be for the American Women Quarter Program, for a total of 66.8 million quarters struck for Althea Gibson. Now let's go ahead and look at this perspective from 2022. We're going to go there first. All right, remember 66.8. All right, 66.8. Yeah, 442. Yeah, 2.5 billion quarters. I think the lowest that year was 467, which was Anna Mae Wong, 240 and 226 right there, as they are. Now let's go to 2023 and see if we even get close to that 66.8. So yeah, 619, 741, 555, 378, 370. There you go. That's the lowest one. There's Maria Tallchief. Now let's look at 2024. This is where they actually start ramping down the production of the quarters. All right, 305, 300, 397, 354, and 322. Yeah, this is a tenth of what we typically would see at 35 and 31 million. 35 and 31 million for 66 million, 800,000 quarters struck. And like I said, this could be, not the final number, but if it is, that would be the lowest minted quarter out of all of the American Women Quarter Program. And if we're gonna compare and contrast here, let's go to the American Beautiful quarters, and we'll go to 2012. Those are the ones that are least minted quarters in the last 50 years, right there. And you're looking at El Yunque, the Anvil National Forest, 50 million quarters there. Chaco Culture National Historic Park, 44 million there. And then Acadia National Park, right there at 46,400,000. 21 there, 24 here, 22 there, 22, 25, and 25.8. Not that many, folks. So those are the American Women quarters. Don't really compare to the America the Beautiful quarters, but that's about as close as we got right there with 66.8 million. Let's keep on keeping on. And these are the images. I already showed you that. Let's go to the plus ones. I've yammered for quite some time here. And I'm going to do another video about silver here soon. And we'll be talking about that and what's going on with the silver market, because there's more developments that I need to share with you. Now over to the plus one action. This is Ecclesiastes 4:6 says here, better is one handful of pleasantness than two fistfuls of labor and vexation of the spirit. And I think what that means, that is better for a man to earn less, but with tranquility and quiet, than to earn much more through difficult labor and aggravation. Yeah, you don't need difficulties and labor and aggravation. That's just not going to make you a happy camper, right? Think about that. And think about all the families where the one of the parents had to work really hard, or both parents had to work really hard, and you don't get to spend time with your kids. Yeah, that's pretty, that could be aggravating, right? That could be difficult, spending time away from your family when everybody's out and having somebody else raise your kid. Yeah, how's my son today? Yeah, how's my daughter today? Not good. So sometimes, sometimes that's what it takes. My wife and I did that when we had children. I was working and she was working, and then when we had children, we agreed because our daughter was, anyway. We didn't trust the person that was watching her, so my wife and I made a pact that she would work and then I would work, and she'd take off and then I would take off, and we'd alternate. So that way we could raise our children. And that was tough financially, but we were able to do it. We were able to sacrifice for our children. So there you go. Now let's bounce over to 3 Nines Fine, 99.9. This is an awesome album. It's Highland Hard Rain. It's a Scottish guitar prodigy who plays a 12-string guitar, and the album is Highland Hard Rain. It's a fantastic album. Hope you dig it as much as I do. Listen to this when I was a young man back in the early 80s. Good stuff there. Hope you dig it as much as I do. Now, with that said, I want to thank y'all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you see, sub the channel. It's absolutely free. What's not free? It's going to be membership, and it's the price of a cheap cup of coffee. It's $1.99. That's right. $1.99 is not a whole lot. And if it is, I'm sorry. Hope your financial situation gets better before it gets worse. And I got to tell you, it's about 6.6 cents per video. It's not a whole lot to support the channel. It helps these videos keep coming out each and every single day. Try that at home. Y'all have a great start to your week. Stacker out.